In this video, we're talking about how do real estate wholesalers work when getting out of a contract. Stay tuned. Hey my friend, this is Ola coming to you live from my myEmpirePRO studios. I'm excited to bring you this video again as usual. On this video, we're going to talk about how it works when you have to get out of a contract as a real estate wholesaler. So there's a question that came in today that I felt compelled to answer everybody, of course. So what is this issue here? It says, hey guys, question. How do you get out of a contract with a seller without getting sued? He basically sold me a bad deal. All right, great. So there are a couple of things I want to point out with this question. First of all, the contract you got into probably wasn't binding. Okay, it's not stuff you have to worry too much about. Okay. The idea here is to bring a buyer to the table. At the end of the day, really what you want to pay attention to is the motivation behind the contract in the first place. But more importantly, what are the end result desires of the parties involved? What is your end result? What's the end result of the seller? More importantly. And that's something that you should pay attention to. See, when I say pay attention to these things, I want you to pay attention to the psychology behind why somebody decided to do business with you in the first place. I mean, people don't do business with people they don't know, like, or trust. They just don't. So this person has trusted you, but I understand why you feel how you feel right now. You feel like they trusted you and now you're about to break that trust, okay? But that's also you underestimating that people are kind of smart and they know that there's a downside to every decision they make, okay? And they also know that even if anything happens, that you probably don't mean any harm, okay? Now, what's your end goal? Your end desire goal was so you can flip the property, right? Which basically encapsulates the fact that you would have helped them get rid of the property, right? So, to be honest with you, you are not in any kind of wrong because you have intentions to help this homeowner get rid of this property by buying and selling it immediately. We call it wholesaling, okay? And by leveraging other people's money to do that. Yes. All right. So don't feel bad if you're in a situation where you got into a deal and the numbers don't necessarily work out. Okay. That's the first thing I noticed in your question. It's almost like you're feeling bad. But here's the worst part about this question. You're pointing a finger. You're taking that angle of pointing a blaming finger, okay? And that never really works out, okay? Because basically the moment you blame somebody, you lost control, you lose your control, you lose your sense of self and your ability to do business, okay? Because you go here, you say, getting sued, okay? Nobody come into the game or try to sell a property or to buy a property with an end goal or I'm trying to sue somebody. The only people that think that way are people in the business like you and I who overthink this process. They are trying to be gurus. They think they know it all. You see them comment everywhere on the internet, right? Because they've mastered the theory of doing this business, even if some of them haven't even closed one deal, but they've mastered the theory. They know they've read the books over and over and over again, but now they're so saturated with the knowledge and they haven't even closed a single deal. It's usually those type of people that will use languages like, so I don't get sued, okay? So when they use it, you probably caught that fire and now you have fear. You know, you're walking around with this fear that somebody may be trying to sue you. I want you to relax and know that there's nobody that comes into the real estate game with the end goal in mind that they must sue somebody. It's only if you rob, cheat, steal, and lie in a way that really hurts somebody. It's only when that happens that you may find yourself in a litigation situation and somebody may then try to sue you for that. But because you put a house under contract and then you couldn't follow through, Nobody's trying to sue you for that, okay? Usually, you'll be dealing with a person who was responsible enough to purchase a property at some point, usually, okay? But let's say worst case scenario, somebody inherits a property, you still don't have to worry about that. Don't walk around this business worried about somebody's going to sue you, especially if you know you're doing the right thing, okay? So don't worry about a seller suing you. That's the first thing. Remove that fear from your mind, because when you walk around with fear, what you fear the most, you tend to attract, okay? Because it basically showing your demeanor, your behavior, you start looking very nervous, and then you're gonna attract exactly what you've been fearing. So try to avoid fear, okay? The last but not least here that I really should touch on is, it basically sold me a bad deal. So you're basically blaming that person for getting into a contract. What is a bad deal, right? How did you get into a bad deal? What were you looking at when you got into a bad deal? Who's responsible for you getting into a bad deal? It's not the person that gave you a bad deal. You are responsible for getting into a bad deal. That's why we try to share the numbers with you. Know your numbers. Know your after repair value. If you don't know your after repair value and somebody got you into a contract, there's no such thing as somebody sold you a bad deal. That's something that consumers would say. You're a producer. You're not a consumer. You're a producer for the marketplace. So you don't come into a marketplace and say somebody sold me a bad deal. You don't come into a marketplace and admit that you're a sucker. Okay, you come into a marketplace with your champion hat on, and even if you made the wrong move, you take responsibility and say that was the wrong move. So if you bring that attitude to the table of saying, well, I messed up, that's leadership. Okay, that's leadership. Not only that, you maintain control of the situation. So if you maintain control of a situation where you've signed a bad deal, what would you do? You will basically say, you know what, that number is not working out. We got to renegotiate. What you do is you go back into the marketplace and you renegotiate. You give them a call and say, listen, I got to come see you. We got to reassess the numbers that we agreed on, but I'm going to show you some things, and I'm going to show you a solution out of this. Your job is to create solutions. Your job is to be solution oriented. You're a problem solving person. You don't create more problems by blaming people. When you blame other people, you're creating problems, right? That's not your responsibility. Problems do get created as we solve other problems, but you don't deliberately say things that will create more problems. If you come to me and you want to blame me for giving you a contract for a deal, I'm going to obviously defend myself. So when people defend themselves, then you're going to have a very bad situations in your hand. But if you honestly come to me and say, hey, I really appreciate it, I really want to do this business, but we got to renegotiate this numbers, it's not working out. And I'm going to be like, what happened? Let's talk it out. Let's talk it through. The defense wall stays down there instead of me saying, what do you mean? Right? Because if you tell me I'll put you in a bad deal, I'm going to, what do you mean? I'm going to defend myself. So try not to put, especially somebody that's supposed to be your client, try not to put them in a place where they have to defend themselves, okay? There's nothing wrong with renegotiating a deal. If you thought an ARV was a good one and it turned out it wasn't a good one, you have time, okay? Yes, I know you told them you're going to close in 7 days. I get that, okay? But they're not dumb, okay? They also know that deals can fall through. And they know the kind of deals they brought to the table. They know that the property needs work. They know that they couldn't get top dollar for the house in the regular open market. That's why they're doing business with you. If they could, they'll be doing business somewhere else. Then more importantly, I hope you got them to like you. You built rapport with them, right? You built a level of rapport with them. So now they like you. Because people only do business with people they know, like, and trust. If they like you, then they may be a little bit disappointed, but they will always be open to some kind of renegotiation, especially if you bring an alternative solution to the table. So it's about bringing alternative solution to the table. It's about not blaming people for you getting into a bad deal. That's your fault, okay? And it's not exactly getting out of a contract. It's about getting into a more favorable situation for both of you. Because if you completely pull that plug, it's going to be very bad for them. Because remember, that property is not it's probably not viable for a regular open market. So they don't mind if you help them and say, hey, let's collaboratively come up with a solution to solve this problem that we have. Let's help you get rid of this property. Just remain calm in that position, and then people are open all day long to renegotiate. And that's how you get out of a contract, by not getting out of the contract, by staying in the contract and renegotiating. Does that make sense? So if you want to be able to do that more and more, you need options. You need to be able to generate leads. You need leads coming through your pipeline on a regular daily basis. And that's something I cover extensively in Smart Real Estate Wholesaling, the book. So you can find that at smartrealestatewholesaling.com. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. Stay tuned. Click like, click subscribe, comment your questions below, and I'll see you on the next one, and peace.